Greetings, Darklings, from across the interwebs. It is once again I, the Duchess, Precious Ken, here for a special Sounds and Shadows podcast. I have on the crew with me today.
It is I, Katy. It's me.
You.
I'm still wearing these glasses. I haven't taken them off.
Oh. I almost had a kitty on the crew today too, but she was too quick for me. I almost got a hold of her there. Before we start with our exciting guests, we always have exciting guests. It's wonderful. We'll keep with this little tradition I've had going where folks send me stuff and then I unbox it and I'd be like, that's awesome. Let's look at that. I have here in my hot little hands, from Distortion Records, the new Lorelei Dreaming Future Fables, which I got a digital copy of, so I have already reviewed, but now I have this lovely one, and we can't wait to get Laura and AJ back to Kalamazoo to come play soon. I look forward to that. And then I got another one from Alia Synthesia, where I had this, I reviewed this too. I get some of these digitals, but I love when I get a real copy because then I can put the CD in my car when I'm driving along. This is really cool. I like the open up here where it's got a different art in it. And then it has this cool little sticker with a code on it for a Bandcamp code. So I will be checking those out and talking about them soon. Those are bands you should see. And then finally, always a shout out to Elby, because I'm rocking my new Scary Black shirt. Elby is the amazing artist, and we're doing a show coming up with Curse Mackey on November 3rd in Detroit. And then when Curse goes to Indianapolis to play at the pub there, what's the name of it now? It's like Black Circle Brewing, that has these great empanadas, and Curse is going to play with Scary Black there, so everybody be on the lookout for that. All right, now that the intro is out of the way, I am now thoroughly excited to introduce the one and only Karl of Angelspit. Karl, what's going on?
I'm having hat envy, actually. I'm looking at you with your hat, and I'm just going, I need a hat. Hold on.
Grab one. There you go. Oh, boom. Okay,
is this my wife's hat? I've got a better hat. Hold on. I don't know how to put this on with my headphones, but I'll figure it out.
Oh, that is the Fez. You went straight to the Fez.
I'm not fucking around here, man. We're going straight to the Fez.
That's getting into some secret society shit.
Yeah,
right here.
All about it.
Okay, well, we'll do conspiracy theories later. Katy, that's Katy's favorite part.
Yep.
We'll find out what kind of cult your wife's in. Awesome.
I don't feel like we really talk about it enough, honestly.
Well, I mean, we're going to get a chance now.
Yeah, today is the day. It's cult day. It's cult o'clock on cult day.
Cult o'clock on Sounds and Shadows. That's our new segment. So I want to start out like I always do. Karl, you have been doing this for a hot minute and played all over the place and with a lot of people. But for anyone who is not familiar, tell me a little bit about your musical history, who you played with, and what turned that into Angelspit. Angelspit. Oh.
Okay, that's an in-joke, and we'll get to that in a minute. So, Angelspit's been going for 18 years.
Damn.
And I got the birthday notice from the .com or the .net the other day saying it's been 18 years, and I went, "Wow!"
You can now kick that band out of the house and tell it to go get a job.
know it can legally drink in some countries. Wow!
At least buy a pack of smokes. Dave.
Let's talk about this. So I've been doing music. I don't really think I'm a musician. I think I'm more of a sculptor, but I say that because I'm a wanker.
Sonic sculptor.
I know. What's really funny is that my one side of my family are actually industrial builders. So a lot of my childhood was spent building go-karts and building welding, grinding. Basically, my youth was a goth club. With industrial saws and stuff. And
so
the odd sword.
Be a very important person to know in the post-apocalypse.
Yes.
Which really
I will build.
That far away.
I will build really fast cars. Let me tell you.
But
I
like
used to
with
build.
swords attached to them.
Yeah, that
You know,
whiz around. Actually, there's a movie you need to see called The Cars That Ate Paris. It's
I've
an
never heard
Australian
that.
movie. Yeah, you got to check it out. It's really whack. It's this zero budget Australian movie where the cars came alive. They were demon possessed, and they ate this small town in Queensland called Paris. It's actually called Paris.
Wow.
And then those cars then actually came into Mad Max.
Whoa.
But, yeah, there you
I was
go.
going to say, I have seen another Australian film that had cars with like weapons and stuff. It was called Road Warriors. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Hold on, Road Warrior. Well, Mad Max 1 was called Road Warrior.
I know. That's how I was being funny.
Okay.
It was the same concept. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's another story. We're going to talk about music in a minute. So the bikie gang who are in Mad Max in Road Warrior, there was 13 of them, and they were from this very prestigious acting college in Sydney called NIDA. And
Okay.
Mel Gibson went there, Nicole Kidman went there.
It's like the
Blanchett went-
Juilliard of Australia.
Yeah, it really is, and
Okay.
it's really top notch. And these were all Shakespearean actors who were commissioned on a holiday to basically become the road warring gang. And they gave them all motorcycles, and they said, you have to get from Sydney to Melbourne. We're giving you 2 weeks, and when you turn up, you have to be in character.
Fully.
So what happened is that the 13 of them rode out, and then when they turned up to Melbourne, there was only 12. And what the weird thing is, they were this crazed biker gang who were just nutty. They lost it. They went to the far side of crazy. They had become the mortal enemy of man. No $100 cure is going to save them. I'm glad you got that. Thanks, Ken. Yeah. And Ken. But yeah, so there you go. But so I was brought up in a household that had that was all about welding and industrial stuff. So I heard the sound of clangs and bangs and all that sort of stuff. I bought my first synth when I was 14. Is this boring yet? And I bought my first sampler when I was like in my late teens, and I still have it. It's actually at the doctor's right now, but it's been on every Angelspit album.
I'm sorry,
And
the synth doctor?
the sampler. So that
Right.
was an Emax
You
sampler.
said it's at the doctor right now? There's a synth doctor?
Yeah. There's
'Cause I
quite
gotta know that guy.
there's a few of them in LA. There's actually some good ones on your side as well.
Ooh, okay.
Dude, yeah. So anyway, so I went into university. I got into grunge. I got into electronic music. There was actually a show on the radio from 9 till from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock on Saturday night when everybody else was out partying. I was listening to the community radio because it was awesome, and it was like the metal hour where this DJ was getting all of these tapes from Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And so we heard Soundgarden and Nirvana, all this stuff before it broke. And then from 9 till midnight, there was a guy doing rave. So we were hearing The Prodigy, 808 State, all of this amazing music.
Yeah.
And his friend was sending him white label albums. So we were hearing all that stuff before it broke. This is in 1990 because I'm really dating myself now. And then one day on that radio station, I heard Skinny Puppy and the making of the go-karts, the industrial, the electronics and the rock and roll just came together.
Kismet.
And that's another funny story, but I won't bore you with it. I got into a band called Jekyll Spawn, and it was very rock and roll, and it was great fun. And it was like 6 gorillas on stage smashing things, and it was awesome. Then I got into a band called Jekyll Switch, and Jekyll Switch was it was the maddest drummer I've ever met in my life, the most insane guitarist I've ever met in my life, and me playing samples and screaming through a vocoder. So it sounded like a very angry Cylon while hell was erupting, and there was 3 of us, and we made so much noise, and it was great fun. And then Angelspit. I was in a bunch of other bands as well, but then Angelspit happened. And I try and keep Angelspit's roots in Sydney because Sydney's a town of rock. It's a very rock town.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So that was it. And then I'm about to release the 10th album, which is called Diesel Priest. And this Don't Know Zero is the first single off the 10th album. And I look like an idiot in this, Fez, but I don't care.
Oh, no, go with it. I like it. And
It's
I like whatever the weird symbol is on it, too. That's,
I know,
it
this
kinda
is,
has a Klingon factor.
Yeah, that's the Battler thing.
Yeah.
If you look silly in that fez, then I look ridiculous in these glasses, and I happen to know I look amazing. So
The glasses are fantastic. I see what
Fez
you're
is
saying. Thank you for that
fantastic.
compliment.
Yeah.
That's good.
Although
Thank you.
You do have some kind of terrifying Big Bird shirt situation happening with like many eyes. I don't know I know that's your shirt, right?
That's my shirt.
See, we just had a talk about this on Sounds and Shadows, the blog, the other day, where someone brought up, like, is it lame to wear your own shirt? And I was firmly in the case of, hell no, it isn't. I was like, if Jim Marcus goes through the time and effort to design a badass logo for me, and I don't proclaim to the world how badass that is, that's on me.
Yeah.
And so, no, I shout it loud and proud. So I love the fact that you're coming with that energy.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see.
And the other thing is I have like 5 versions of this shirt.
And they gotta get worn sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's, and the really cool thing about Angelspit, and so FYI, on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock LA time or midday New York time, I do this thing called the Art of Rock. And it's where musicians get together and talk about writer's block and all of that sort of stuff. And I totally forgot why I was going to say that, but I was leading into something, and just pretend I said it and everyone's going, yeah.
No, that makes sense. No, well, I think it's great. Maybe it was because I brought up the blog a minute ago and that we were having the discussion on it. But to me, that's something that Sounds and Shadows, like, we're always trying to incorporate, is giving a chance for musicians, DJs, producers, all aspects of the game to kind of get together and talk about this stuff. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're trying to do on you said it was Saturday mornings?
Sunday mornings. 9 a.m. LA time, midday New York time.
How do you get a fez and get an invite to this party, like the secret society of musicians? Like, I got to get jumped in, or what? How does this?
It's streamed on Twitch, but if you jump on the Twitch and say, "Let me into the Zoom," we'll just let you know the passcode, the Zoom address. But the whole point of that, what's going on in that is, everybody comes with a question. And I have writer's block. How am I going to deal with this? Or I'm having trouble with this song, or I'm thinking about buying a compressor. What should I get? La, 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 la. And there's a whole bunch of people who will give an answer. So it's not just the Karl show.
Sure.
It's a whole bunch of people giving what they think as well. And what's great about it is that I will talk to people about my problems, my issues with music and creating music, and they will give me some really cool ideas. And one of the things because I know you're a musician, and Kat, I'm assuming you're a musician because I can see heaps of stuff.
She's good.
All right. Was one of the guys challenged me to take off all multi-band compression. Because you know how you run everything through Isotope or something like that, and it gives a sound. And the interesting thing about that sound is that sound has been on the last few Angelspit albums, because as technology's got better, hey, look, I'll just chuck a multi-band compression and wow, it sounds amazing. Whereas the old albums didn't have that. And that's something I did on this new album, is after I spoke to these guys, and I'll always say something like, if I don't do it, you can kill me, because, rock and roll. I remembered why I brought this up. But what came out of it is we just, they challenged me to do this thing. And it was like, because all the old Angelspit stuff didn't have that stuff. So I actually went through my computer and I took it off. I literally removed all the new stuff, all the multi-band compression, and I went back to just EQs and compressors, and that's it. So it's got a pretty old clingy sound. But the reason I bring this up is because we were talking about how our community, our tribe, we who are clad in black, are very, very open to so much stuff. The scope of what we're into is huge.
Yeah.
So we can listen to the Gothsicles, and then we can listen to Gasoline Invertebrate, which crazily are the same guy. I know. Then we can listen to Baal, who even Satan herself is terrified of. Then we can listen to something more soft and gentle. And what's great about this is that our community does not care how old you are, and we don't care about your any form of orientation, and we don't care about your sex.
Yeah.
And also, our community sticks by you as an artist goes through their journey. Because the thing about an artist is that you might start doing something really heavy, then you might go something soft, then you might go back into heavy again. This genre stays with you.
Right.
And this is crazy. Like, there are no genres, to my knowledge, probably except country, but there are very, very few genres who actually have this amount of, and also constantly backing their artists. Because usually, when people are in their early mid-20s, they stop buying music. But here, you just keep looking after the tribe. I'm going to shut up now and you're going to speak.
No, I think it's a really good point. I think it's something that I believe strongly and kind of always speak to myself, but I've never really thought of it stated that way, how particular it is to kind of the goth industrial whatever scene that a lot of other like if the Smashing Pumpkins want to come out and do a jazz album, like they'd get basted. You know what I mean? By their fan base, but you're right. Like goth industrial is really particular in the fact that it's such a wide prism of subgenres.
Yeah.
That anything remotely within it that someone else wants to come out with, it's pretty embraced. I mean, you might get you're always going to get somebody whining about something. Oh, I know what Katie's going to ask next. You're always going to get somebody whining about something that, oh, how dare you do anything different than the last 5 albums you've made?
Yeah.
Why would you
Oh my God.
to my life? But I think you're right. I think 90% of the scene is very much like that. I now need to turn you over to Katy so she can talk about her favorite aspect of these interviews.
Who's the cat?
Go.
What's the cat's name? What is?
This is Shaya. This is Shaya Space
Oh,
Cat.
it's a baby.
No, she's not. She's
They're
Shaya's
all
actually.
babies anyway.
They are.
15-year-old baby.
All right. Well, Shaya's about 50. I think Shaya is a dragon in a cat's body because my thing is that when the unicorns and the dragons and all of the magic mystical beasts, they all lost their bodies. It's like, fuck, let's go into the cats. So, and Mordecai downstairs is you can go out that door. You can do it. I believe in you. There she goes. Mordecai, our other cat, is a unicorn.
Nice.
And Shay is also an opera singer because she's Maine Coon, part Maine Coon. So she loves to sing as loudly as she can at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Does she ever end up on tracks?
Yes. She's on a bunch of tracks, and it's not like that's such an excellent vocal take. I'm not doing it again, and it's
Let the
meow.
cat sing.
Sorry.
Let the cat sing. Yeah.
But
Throw a little
she's
flange, a little distortion. Boom, get it.
Yeah, there it is. But she doesn't need it because it's funny that she's Maine Coon, so she speaks Wookiee. Because if anybody else has a Maine Coon, and Maine Coons are very goth cats.
It's true.
They're very
They're
smart.
killers by heart. They do. Like they're some of the most feral. Now, Rachel, my partner, has told me before the important fun fact that cats don't actually speak to each other with their meows or whatnot. What they're doing is they don't need that. They do it with like tail switches and their head movements and things like that. They meow for you.
Wow.
So whatever you hear your cat meowing, that's what they think you sound like. And they're like, I'm a human.
Wow.
Human meow. Yeah. That's them mocking you.
Is it possible that cats are actually this mass Illuminati thing? Because like you said, they use secret signals, cats' eyes blinking, vibes, to communicate about the Great Takeover, which they've been working on for about 30,000 years. Katy, I know you want to say something. Go.
It is that they are aliens. That is my conspiracy, that they are not of this planet. And I have stuck by that for many years now because if you had met my cat, her name is Stella. She's definitely not from this planet. And that's just a fact.
Yeah, I believe that.
We're going
I
to some
also
deep
think
places.
that octopi are from a different planet too. but
Yeah,
Yeah.
octopus
their
are
intense
weird
camouflaging.
and smart, scary smart.
Yeah. Like they can open bottles and write memoirs.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Theses, they get approved.
Yeah. Well, like you're writing something, it's like, hey, what an octopus wrote this. It's because it's like really good and really like deep.
Yeah, it really makes me question a lot of what I'm doing with my life when I see some of the octopus dissertations.
Yeah, I know. And the shit those guys go on about. It's like,
like, why am I not better than this?
I know. It's okay. You're doing good. But also, like, if I had octopus powers, like I would definitely be touching stuff and I would look glamorous.
That's true.
I mean, when you think about all the different outlets that you can really get into in a single sitting as an octopus, it really does unlock so much potential. Like you can be doing 8 different tasks at the same time. Eating, playing the drum, just kind of like having out there.
You could be Alanis Morissette. You could be smoking a cigarette.
Having 2 other tentacles, throwing a peace sign, whatever.
Right.
Okay. Maybe
Another tentacle in your pocket. I love it. I want someone to remake that.
And another one giving a high five.
An octopus now. I'm really mad that didn't happen.
Atlantis octopuses? Octoput? It's there.
Octopi.
Octopi.
The correct nomenclature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for it. Okay, Katy, did you want to ask me something like really crazy and conspiratorial before we spoke about that crazy conspiratorial thing?
No, I think that these things will slowly and organically come out through the conversation on their own. I was actually going to try to circle it back to the music because I saw something that kind of stood out to me when I was doing research on your history, and it said that you and your bandmates had met through like a zine that you all really kind of like following that type of media. So I was going to ask, what was the zine that brought you together?
Well, we actually ran a zine distro called Vox Populus, and that was one that Amelia started, and I walked on to help her run it because it was I think it was the biggest zine distro in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
And I miss zines, and the whole thing about Angelspit is it came out of distortion pedals, samplers, and zines. Because when we stopped writing zines, we just turned them into lyrics. So it's really funny that I still have some zines, but people just don't really seem to be interested anymore in that.
It's coming back.
I hope.
Coming back. There's a couple of great ones that we're really into supporting, like Obscura Undead is putting them out. So there's a few of them, and I've been really excited for it, and I'm becoming like a collector of the new wave of zines.
Awesome.
That's my jam right now.
Maybe I should start printing zines again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely collect your zine.
All right, cool.
Something
Done.
told me that your zines would be ultra gritty based on what Angelspit is, what Angelspit sounds like, and what the new single is like. I really love the new single. I love.
Thank you.
There's like that grittiness to it, but then I love the sweeping synth line in the background. Like I was jamming out to that earlier today.
Thanks.
How do you achieve, like, you said that you use certain distortion pedals, a little bit of tech talk. What do you recommend for like a very gritty kind of like guttural sound when it comes to a good guitar pedal?
Okay. Hold on. So firstly, I will say Angelspit's whole aesthetic is based on the photocopier from zines.
That's awesome.
This came today.
The Big Muff.
Big
I know
fucking
it well.
muff. And I've also got the other big muff.
Oh,
Nice.
double muff.
And a whole bunch of muff going on, a whole bunch of pie.
Nice.
And I've got the I went really old school, and I'm getting the old the Boss DS1 and the SD1, so the distortion and the overdrive. Most of what I do is in modular, and I'm only now, because they're new, like they came today.
Yeah.
That's how unlegit this guy is. Most of what I do is within the modular, and there's a reason for that, and that is because the modular volume is very, very loud. whereas about 30 decibels down here, you've got guitar input. These are specifically for the Emaxes and the samplers, because I can get them to output a really low signal, and I can utilize them, because that's what's going on without the spit, or El Spitadoria, as it never gets called, but I just called it then.
Now it will.
It did. So as far as the modular stuff, like the Big Muff stuff, it's great. It's cheap. You have to watch your gain going into it. And it's the same with the Boss stuff. It's just, you know, the DS1 distortion has been, and I have used that one and the SD one, the Super Drive. I've used them a bit. They're legends because they've been around this long, because they sound so good. The thing to remember though is that there's certain frequencies and stuff that these pedals might not be totally built for, but that's an advantage because you can then crunch stuff up. Over in Modular Land, which is here, the modular stuff I use is, I've got some Metasonic stuff, which is just brutal, insane, smashing up glass and putting it in your eyes kind of stuff, like it's tube screaming mayhem. And then there's a lot of dope for wave shaping stuff. And there's also a, what the hell is that thing called? An alienator. And it's a bit crusher. I use a lot of bit crush it, then smash it up, because a lot of the doper stuff will allow you to do some really nice transistor-based distortions. So, you know, because like basically everything I do is hardware. Pull it out, run it through compressors, run it through distortion, fuck shit up and see what happens. But a lot of that sound is also modulation. So instead of just distorting something, now I'm talking really, are you still listening? This is so boring.
Yeah, I am. No, I actually, you know, usually Gear Talk will do that. Like,
All
I
right.
have to have Colin or Katy here because my eyes will roll back up in my head. But no, this is actually really interesting. It's got me thinking about things.
I just got a guy in Canada who does hex inverter, Stacy, the most amazing oscillator I've seen in my whole life. And I can then use that to distort everything. I'm on a real American-Canadian bender, Canadian bender. The synth I got during the production of this was the Rev 2 from Sequential, and it's so good. It's such a great synth. You can do with, you know, anything with it. Like the staple is the K2000, also designed in the United States. The Moog, made and created and birthed in the United States.
Yep, that's true.
But this, and obviously also the Emaxes that are also Californian made. You know, beautiful, gritty, old school samplers.
Yeah.
But the Rev 2, the distortions and everything you can do, the cross modulating, and the way you can go into the fabric of the sound and rip it apart. It's just beautiful. It's lovely. Yeah.
So what have I learned? What have I learned? No, this is where I'm gonna tie back. I really have a new appreciation thinking about Angelspit music now, because of what you told me first, was that kind of growing up in that industrial warehouse, putting stuff together with your hands. And when I heard you, I always kind of think about the fact that there is a big change now, right? I mean, a lot of the recording that we do, you can have literally every amplifier that was ever made, through every effects processor that was ever made on your computer. Boop, boop, boop. There's a picture of it. You can digitally turn the knob and everything, and there it is. But for you, that wouldn't make sense because you got to touch it.
Yeah.
And something else that you said that really sparked with me was why I have the actual pedal like this and to modulate with it is because now I can make it do things it wasn't designed to do. Whereas if it's a digital sound on a preset, you can get it to do whatever the manufacturer had the limitations of making it there for, but you can't really bend it outside that unless you're whacking on the thing yourself.
Yeah. And that's why go ahead. Yeah. That's why I love modular synthesis, because there's other really fun things like pitch octave droppers, which will take something at A440, then it'll output it at A220, then 110. So it'll drop it down octave. It's an octave divider, a frequency divider. So it's made for nice tones. But what happens when you put a drum loop into it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or what happens when you take a microphone and put it inside of a condom and put it in a bathtub and then put a drum loop through it?
Now you're getting into Severed Heads territory. I actually interviewed Tom Allard, and it was an interview that changed my life. Now, it's funny. I'm just going to loop back very quickly to The Art of Rock every Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock where we talk about this stuff. And it's really interesting how the thing about doing stuff on hardware is it takes so much longer.
Yeah.
But there is so much more experimentation, and there is so much more, oh, wow, I wasn't intending to do that. Instead of having gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of stuff to draw from, you've got a stick and a saucepan and a microphone. Go. And again, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because the sample length is, you can only sample 17 seconds worth on these things because they're so old. And in doing so, you are challenging yourself to use these sounds in a new, wonderful way. And it's just really good fun.
Physically do it the same way twice.
Yeah.
That isn't always easy. I mean, you're talking about physics here of the exact same amount of speed, intensity, so on and so forth. Yeah.
And that's exciting to me. And I've tried to do stuff on VSTs and stuff, and my brain just goes, because I don't really like notes. Notes are kind of boring to me. I have a degree in music, and I work for an opera company, and I find notes really boring. So I like to
Mozart both.
Yeah. Oh, too many notes. Don't start me on Mozart. And the funny thing is that when these things, they get the sound and they rip it up. So there's the hint of that sound is still in there. And that's what's going on with a lot of that. The sounds that I really like to go to that play those melodies that you mentioned. Thank you very much, Katy. They're being fucked.
Yes.
Royal.
Proper. Proper fuck.
100% fucked. I had to say that. I'm sorry. Katy, go.
It's okay. We swear here too much. That's why we'll never be monetized. Go.
I really appreciate all of the tech talk, but one thing that stood out to me that for some reason has just been in my brain this whole time is you said Mesosonic, which kind of sounds like Masonic, which brings me to my next question.
Ooh,
what secret handshake did you have to do to get that fez, and would you mind providing us that secret handshake today?
I'd absolutely love to. So it's a really funny story. You see, what happened was, and then I walked out of there and he gave it to me.
Oh my God.
It was great. But it was funny because I got this, I was in some random place with a band known as Miss Ballistic. And one of their members found this hat and they said, "You're having this hat." And I went, "Okay." And it was in like a secondhand place and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, yeah. I walked into another place with, I was actually hanging out with Brad from Chant, another band I love to listen to and work with.
Brad's been on our show before. Love Brad.
Oh, I love him. I love his face. I love his jackets.
Yeah,
anyway.
And I love his stupid Neil Peart kit. Like we talk about that a lot, that he's, like you, he's got to physically have.
He's got to whack stuff.
He has an absurd Neil Peart kit, and I'm here for it.
Wow. We went into some secondhand place, and there was a cloak, a Freemason cloak. And that ended up being on the cover of an album I did called The Cult of Fake. And because I'm doing Diesel Priest, which is the new album, is the part 3 of something I'm doing called the Hex Trilogy, the Witch Trilogy. And it's all about the great cult. The great algorithm, the great thing that's poisoning our minds.
And so if you listen to all of them and get it on LP and play it backwards, are you able to unlock?
Yes, you are. You'll hear Mars bars, Mars bars, Mars bars, chocolate, 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 Mars bars, Mars bars.
Okay.
Because that's the secrets of the universe.
Answer.
Yeah, chocolate, man. It's all about chocolate.
I couldn't agree more. But that does bring a question to mind. If you're doing things in such a way that it's kind of these concepts that flow through each other, do you ever leave Easter eggs for your listeners?
Yes, lots. I do numbers and stuff. There's a whole bunch of number references in it. There's a whole bunch of lyrical references in it.
Are we getting into like the Kabbalah now? Are we doing like numerous? Oh, okay.
Oh, not really specifically the Kabbalah, but that kind of idea where there are, like in one track, actually it was Ambassador. I put the location of Area 51 was in these in this number. Well, yeah, and if you ever go to Nevada, everyone knows where Area 51 is. So it's no big deal.
They know where the public one is, not the underground one.
True.
Not the real.
You got me. Yeah.
And I mean, the underground one there is only a teleportation device to go to the, floating base up above.
So here's a funny story. My best mate, I went to uni with Alistair, and Alistair, he's in Sydney, and he came over and we hired a Mustang, as you do, and we went on a road trip, as you do, in the convertible Mustang to Area 51. And we went to Rachel, where they've got the UFO, and the little alien.
Yeah.
So it's that pub, that bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went there and we spoke to some of the locals. And what was really interesting is that they had this glazed over look in their eye. Oh, yes, we see things all the time happening here. We don't pay it much attention anymore. And it was just a bit weird. So then we talked.
It's like the Blarney Stone, though. I think the locals there, it's like they just go pee on it at night and then laugh at tourists who go to kiss it or whatever. Yeah. I think it's a bit like that. I think they've just been trained in Roswell just be like, oh yeah, dude, shit's totally fucking weird out there. You don't even know. And then they turn to each other and they're like,
and they're both going, I don't know, we're both tourists from Australia. So. But then we went to the Tunapah, which is right on the edge of Area 51. They have a clown motel, which is full of possessed clowns. It's
terrifying.
It is. It's clown themed.
Next
to a graveyard. It's next to a graveyard, and it's haunted with clown monsters. And Area 51. Think about this. So next time you want to go on a travel, Tunapah in Nevada, and stay at the Clown Motel next to Area 51, and say hello.
Pick up some cactus on the way. Go to the Clown Motel, and then jack up for 3 weeks and write an album. Right, that's how it's done, right?
Now, funny. I have this thing. Stop me if I'm boring you. I have this thing that
I haven't done that yet. So.
I every time I go to I'm on a road trip or I'm on tour, you go into the bathroom. I take my phone in and I record the sound of dropping the seat of the toilet, because each gas stop bathroom's got a certain size, and therefore it's got this really good slapback reverb.
Nice.
So every single place I went, and I've got this collection of snare drums that are made of toilet seats from hot alien places all over the United States.
That's out of.
And they sound great.
This is amazing. I got to really say I've learned more in this interview than just about any. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Can we please a little bit? I want you to talk about why people, you have the single that's out now. And for me, yes, the production aspects of it are really, really cool. But to me, what just sparked on it was the sheer, venom flung forth in this kind of spoken word, almost like rap cadence poetry that went along with it. And it kind of, there was something very punk rock about that. I know that, like I said, you're kind of in the industrial vein or what have you, but to me, punk rock is a mindset, not necessarily a music. And that it felt very like Dead Kennedys or something like that to me, where and tell me a little bit about, for this album coming up and this single in particular, what was the kind of, this is what Joe Strummer trained us for.
Yeah.
Like that that got you saying, I need to cut loose with this album because the wake up call needs to happen now because we are spiraling, man, toward something scary. And if we don't stand up, we will never get another chance. Because that's what I felt on this single.
Yeah, well, thank you for pointing that out. I spend a lot of time on lyrics, I research a whole bunch of stuff, and it goes into the lyrics. This, like, I've always been very political, and Angelspit's always been kind of like that. It's very inspired by Sonic Youth, which that vocal delivery is very Sonic Youth, and the name Angelspit is from a Sonic Youth song. Orange Rolls and Angelspit, yeah, stole it straight up.
That makes sense.
So it started in 2015 when, 2016 when I was on tour. And there are, it was coming into an election year, and there were a whole bunch of little placards, the little signs people put on their lawn. And, where we started, they were all red, all blue. And as we went south, they got more and more red. When I went to Chicago, I said, shit's going to get red. And they went, no, it's not. And I went, well, shit's going to get red. And then when that happened, and when I made a post on Angelspit's Facebook, back in the days when people gave a shit about Facebook, it was very interesting that a third came back and said, no, I like the red idea. I like that concept. A third went, oh no, blue all the way. And then a third were quiet. And I've been watching, I have a fascination about the rise of fascism. And it's got to stop. We have to call it out. We've got to stop it.
Yes.
And I am seeing increasingly this behavior and the tolerance of these things emerge.
Yeah.
And they are emerging in people who are quite left-wing. They emerge in me sometimes, and I have to pull myself up. They emerge in all of us. And this is one of the concepts of Diesel Priest, is that the idea that everybody's got a drop of evil in them. Yeah. And we have to deal with that. We've got to fix that. And what's funny is that as this trilogy in particular started, it was the first one, Bang Operative, was written well before the pandemic. Then the Ignorance Cartel, which means army of fucking idiots, was written up to the pandemic and produced during the pandemic. So none of the lyrics reflected that, but the production was like the beginnings of this thing. Like, we used to live in Hollywood, and at the bottom of the street, the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, and pandemic and mayhem. And now this has happened, and with the Diesel Priest, it's just, I can't believe what I'm seeing, and I am at a loss. And normally with an Angelspit album, I've got this, here's the concept, and boom, 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 and it's going to be really well focused on this concept. This is just screaming. It is burning frustration that, wow, now the bullshit's gone down in Texas with the abortion situation. And it's like, industrial is all about making people feel uncomfortable. We're a political bunch, and goth, that's great, whatever. But I'm just going to bitch about industrial for a minute. It's our fucking job to bang the damn gong and say, this shit can't happen. It's not right. It's not in our watch. These are the beginnings of fascism. It's the start of it, and we can't let it happen. So we have to have conversations at the Thanksgiving table, gentle conversations. We have to have conversations. We have to call people out gently, because there's a human being at the end of that keyboard. Sure. We have to make sure that there are certain things that it's 2021, we're better than this.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, like with Texas, it sometimes makes me wonder if we are. We need to be, though, and we should be.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in Diesel Priest. That's why those lyrics are the way they are. And in Don't Know Zero, it's sort of about the idea of the herd mentality. And it's about, okay, well, in the beginning, it was, or we wanted to make God happy. So God would look down and smile. And now it's like we wanted to make the aliens happy or whatever. And now we want to make the party and our peers happy. Because what's supposed to happen with an adult is, as a child, you want to make your parents happy. Then you want to make your community. As you grow older, then you just want to make yourself happy. But we seem to be de-evolving here, where it's now, there is such an us and them mentality towards everything. We just want to make people happy, and that's part of the problem.
Because it's the easiest way to foster control, is if you have a big group and you can find a way to split them in two, there's no better way to control them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah. Well, that's the joke about the king, the corrupt king is standing on his balcony, and the throng are there, and they're angry, and they're going to take them over. And half of them have got pitchforks saying, kill the king. And the other half have torches saying, kill the king. And the king just goes out here and he says, do you realize the guys with the pitchforks, they're going to steal your torches.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. And then they're divided, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what always we must stay together. And I haven't even started on the environmental situation, but that's in there. And I've always wondered, like, when you're dancing at a club, do you really want to hear me screaming at you about how fucked the world is?
You know what? I think I think that is important, an important discussion point. But I think the truth is this: when I'm at the club, like dancing, do I want to hear you screaming about how fucked the world is? No, I want to dance, and your music provides that, and it is dancey and it is fun. But when I get home and I play the same song that I heard at the club on my earphones or in my studio, do I want to hear you scream at me then about how the world's fucked? Yes, I do. And I think truly great music has always been able to do both. Like when you have something like music that really people connect to, you got to be able to shake that ass, and then you need to be able to go home and think. And if I really think about all the best albums I've all known over time, they do both.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I'll just say one more thing. I just don't shut up. I was watching a 60s thing recently on Vietnam, and they had the 60s, the quintessential 60s Vietnam soundtrack playing. And it occurred to me how passionate they were about everything going on and how politically motivated they were. And it was like sign of the times. It was the zeitgeist. And I was thinking, we've got so much more going on now. Like, shit is on fire. Shit is fucking on fire. And I think it's our duty to when people listen back and they go, oh, wow, 2020. Yeah, I just know a 2020 track because it's angry.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to be angry about. I'll leave that there.
I think if anything, kind of, again, one of the greatest tricks the darkness ever played was just the fact that we've gotten to a point that it's so much music, it's so saturated, but on top of that, there's so much bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's so saturated, like in terms of just bad things happening, people become desensitized to it. So even when you have an album or start screaming it or something like that, I mean, sometimes it can just be hard to break through the difference between, like, my coffee was cold and the world's ending and Texas is insane and is like, trying to take away women's rights, and all these things kind of become one thing, even though they're obviously on very different levels in very different places. And it's a scary thought. And I think you're right. It's got to take a lot of people stepping up in the same voice to not just have music be enough that you want to shake that ass.
Yeah.
Like to throw some extra spice on that shit. That's the word of the day, kids. When you're out there making that album, when you have your latest Mixcloud hit, throw some extra spice on that shit because the world needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Throw some mustard on that ketchup. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you're in Chicago, don't use any ketchup at all.
Yeah, use Malort if you're in Chicago.
It is like a very wild world that we're living in, and I do think that even though the environment is getting a lot more hostile, the amount of placating and people pleasing is on the rise too, which means that the people who have the most attention on them right now are kind of like holding up their ideals. Like they'll say it on these private interviews and stuff, but they won't churn out music that will reach all of their audience because they're afraid. And that's just kind of like my opinion, because I know that there are a ton of artists that are very politically charged and they're trying to get the message out there, but I do also feel like there's a lot of fear that comes with saying something that's so political where you're afraid
you'll get canceled.
Yeah.
So the Romans had this concept called Pax Romana, and the whole Pax Romana thing is, we're going to keep people occupied with the games, or make them think that there's the pieces going on. We're going to give them endless Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all of this shit to keep their mind off what's going on. I mean, Afghanistan's totally disappeared from the news now.
Yep.
And gee, this is a really fascinating thing, is that the way we are so overwhelmed, like our minds are overfed. We can't handle this shit anymore. As soon as something else, oh great, that's going to take our minds off this for a moment. And this is something else that is being addressed in the album, is the way the great algorithm dictates to you what's in your feed, and make sure that whatever's in your feed is something that you agree with, and it's not going to, trouble with your little bubble.
Stir you up too much,
Yeah. And we've got to be straight. Like, the truth sucks. The truth will set you free, but it sucks. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to fucking, acknowledge that you're wrong on some things. So
feeling hypocritical is uncool, man. That's not a good feel. No. But that's reality for all of us in a lot of ways. Like, it's something we all have to look down the barrel of.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. Damn, this got heavy and shit. All right, I'm gonna boomerang it now. I'm gonna go in a different direction. Okay. We're a music review page. And so I always like to hear from artists when we have them on. What are you stoked about? Like, what are you listening to right now that's getting you fired up? Karl, hit me with a couple things that's getting you juiced right now. Any genre, any whatever, but just what's fueling your fire, man?
One thing. MTV TV.
Yeah. Love that.
I think what needs to be happening is that when you're bored, watch MTV TV. When you're working, have it on in the sideline. It's basically all of the goth bands, the industrial bands, the little guys like us, send our stuff into MTV TV, and MTV TV play it. Yeah. So you get to watch non-stop what everyone's doing. If you want to get your finger on the little pulse, MTV TV. Yeah. That's Twitch/MTV TV.
Yeah, DJ Adam Bomb does that, and is terrific. I've VJ'd a couple times on there, done promos for them.
Cool.
And just very cool folk that, you're right, like really play a wide swath too. I think it goes back to what you said. Like, I mean, you can hear everything there from kind of shoegaze to industrial to goth to and from all over the world too. Yeah. And it's just always going and always kind of new stuff being plugged in, and just kind of the chain gets longer and longer as it just keeps getting more material in there. So
yeah, and our scene needs this, because it's so easy to go, oh, well, goth industrial, whatever the hell this is called now, is only what's played at the clubs. No, there is this beautiful giant, this mountain of music that's going on, that's not being played at the clubs, that you need to hear about it. And MTV TV's got it all. And that you don't have to pay for play. They don't do sponsorships. Me and Brian help these guys out so much, and they don't throw us favors. And I like that. I want that to happen. One of my favorite bands ever is called the Flesh Eating Foundation. They're from Manchester in England, and they are berserk. And they have finally stuff on it. You can watch it, Flesh Eating Foundation. Yeah. So jump on it. It's great, and it's funny. I've come to there are a lot of bands on that I've sort of I don't ask me because I'm not going to remember their names. But there's so much stuff going on. It's just brilliant.
Nice. Well, I love that one. That's a great recommendation and a great shout out for DJ Atombaum and
Diana.
And Diana, yes. I really, truly, I get the impression, like a lot of things in life, like that's the mind that puts it together. I mean, his mustache brings the people to the yard.
Yeah, it's like the antennas.
Yeah, but they are the ones that are directing traffic in there and making the machine run, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. And the amount of work those guys put into it, it's crazy. And what I encourage everyone to do is if you do a Twitch, if you're a band and you do a Twitch, raid to MTV TV once you're done. If you've got 10 people, 5 people, 50 people watching your Twitch, raid to MTV TV. Get people used to the idea that this thing exists.
It's always spinning.
Yeah, always there. And as a band, and they do a thing on Wednesdays now where it's specifically all the new tracks. And they'll get somebody on to host it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Love it. Okay. Katy, do you have any parting shots before I ask about our spin out track?
So I don't have any further questions for you. We can all relax, but I do want to thank you so much for just kind of getting into some of the sillier and heavier things that go along with your whole history and the band. It's been the most interesting interview, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Keep making your art. And stay plugged into Sounds and Shadows, because there are a lot of people asking questions and a lot of people giving some great answers. So let's keep this going.
I love it. So usually at this point, I ask what track you would like to spin out to of yours. And I figured it would be the new single.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I thought I would ask anyway, just in case, if you thought there was another Angelspit track that you'd rather spin out to.
Let's do Don't Know Zero.
Don't Know Zero, I love it.
Yep.
That's a jam. From those of you out there in interweb lands, this has been the Sounds and Shadows podcast with Angelspit. Keep it fucking dark, yo.
Since we climbed out of the slime, we've been trying to get God's favor. Following a maniac devoted like zealots, we the rabble with our eyes stitched shut like a bored child with a magnifying glass, spreading all the little ants who won't conform with us. A ruling class full of obedient minions and the rich blonde teenagers who'll sing along to anything. Stay